Hello friends, my name is Chandra Traxler and today I'm going to be doing an analysis film video over the film Pan's Labyrinth. I would like to preface this video by stating I'm very sorry for the jazz band that is performing beneath me. They were not supposed to be here today. This film was released in 2006, written and directed by Mexican auteur Guillermo del Toro. This dark fantasy film is set in 1944 fascist Spain and tells the story of a young girl named Ophelia as she is sent along with her pregnant mother to live with her new stepfather, the violent and strict Captain Vidal, who was on a mission to wipe out the rest of the rebel groups while awaiting the birth of his son. During the night, Ophelia meets a fairy who takes her to an old faun in the center of a labyrinth, who tells her that she is a princess, and in order to return to her world, she must complete a series of 3 tasks. This film has 3 overarching themes held within its very intricate storyline. The first is the idea of obedience versus disobedience, whether you should blindly follow the rules given to you or question them and rebel. The second is the theme of choice. Throughout the film, characters are met with many difficult choices. Mercedes and the doctor must choose to either stay quiet or to rebel. Ophelia must make the choice to prove her worth and go to the underworld, or to stay above in the world that she knows. And the third theme that I chose is violence. Violence is used many times as a means of obtaining information or just general intimidation. It's not uncommon that a character must stand for what they believe in, even if they know they will meet a violent end because of it. There are dozens of characters in Pan's Labyrinth who help demonstrate these themes. The first is my 3D character, Ophelia. Ophelia is a character whose entire design takes inspiration from past fairy tales, such as Alice in Wonderland and The Wizard of Oz. Ophelia is a character who demonstrates each of the 3 themes that I picked. The first is disobedience. From the moment we see her, she acts in disobedience. When she first meets Vidal, she refuses to call him father or even shake his hand the correct way. Yet she still has a sense of childlike innocence and seeks out the fairy tale world without thinking nothing bad will happen to her. However, as we know in the end of the film, she must also fall to acts of violence by Vidal. This brings me to my first 2D character, Captain Vidal, a stereotypical dictator character with a clean-pressed suit and a broken watch. He represents a fascist regime that demands obedience from those around him. He despises Ophelia's willingness to listen, and even her daydreams and fairy tales, as seen in the scenes with Carmen. Vidal is ruthless and will use violence to assert his dominance and to be sure to get the information he wants. The second 2D character I picked out is the Faun. When we first meet him, he is seemingly old and decrepit. His joints are stiff and it is hard for him to move. The Faun possesses an aggressive masculine energy that contrasts Ophelia's soft innocence. At times, even his actions mirror the captain's. He demands blind faith without the arguments from Ophelia, even leaving her for a while when she doesn't follow his exact orders. As the film progresses, the Faun begins to look younger and more able-bodied, which juxtaposes with his distrustful behaviors. Continuing with creatures, I'll move on to the first of my 1D characters, and probably my favorite character of all time, the Pale Man. This humanoid flesh bag is said to represent the government's power during the Spanish Civil War. The paintings on the wall of the lair of the Pale Man show children begging for mercy as he devours them. This showcases that the Pale Man has no shreds of humanity left and cares little for future generations. The Pale Man's lair has no entrances or exits, so the children are lured in and tricked. However, his mobility is a weakness. With eyes in his hands, he stumbles and drags his feet, almost resembling an old man. This could possibly be there to show how fragile a power figure is and how easily it can be fooled and avoided. The second 1D character I chose is Dr. Ferrero, a hidden member of the rebel group that stands as a spy in Vidal's compound. When Vidal learns of the doctor's betrayal, he is confused, unable to understand the doctor's actions. The doctor knows he will be punished in the end for his actions, yet he still took a stand against the captain, stating,
Así, sin pensarlo. Eso solo lo hacen gentes como usted, capitán.
The third character I picked out is Ophelia's mother, Carmen. She lays as an example of someone who will let fascism slide without saying a word simply because she is afraid. She blindly follows anything that Vidal asks of her, and in the end it costs her her life. If you're wondering just who could have created this mind-blowing, messy story, I will introduce to you Guillermo del Toro, the writer, director, producer of Pan's Labyrinth. Del Toro is known for his darker horror fantasy films such as Kronos, The Devil's Backbone, as well as more mainstream films like Hellboy and Pacific Rim. His goal for Pan's Labyrinth was to create a cinematic blend between scenes of brutality and innocence while highlighting a very real side of Spanish history that was easily forgotten by people around the world. This brings me to my first cinematic consideration, the use of practical special effects. Guillermo del Toro spent 10 years as a special effects makeup artist and even owned his own company. He spent a long time sketching each of the characters in one of his many notebooks and worked closely with the art department to bring them to life. They all mix together the thematic elements of fantasy, reality, politics, and pleasure. The incredible Doug Jones plays both the Faun and the Pale Man in the film, undergoing multiple hours of makeup every single day to transform into both of these creatures. To hit on critical relevance, I have to say that this film highlights some of the very real issues of brutality in the Spanish Civil War as well as the opposition to fascism. Showing things through a childlike wonder through Ophelia showcases the way that someone so young might have used to cope with an otherwise incredibly traumatic situation. In conclusion, Guillermo del Toro's Pan's Labyrinth stands apart from the rest as a beautiful yet disturbing take on the classic fairy tale stories. I know a lot of people get turned off by foreign films where you must rely on subtitles, but after watching Pan's Labyrinth, you'll understand it's 100% worth it.